Hi everyone, I'm Maddie.
And I'm Amber.
And we're
Witches Talking Tarot.
And today we're going to be talking about energy vampires, but maybe not in the way you think, okay?
I bump suck your energy.
I'm sorry.
As soon as you said it, I was like, I have to do this. I don't know why.
Love me some
Sorry.
vampires, not necessarily energy vampires though.
But
I'm going to start out by saying this. I think the word energy vampire is used so loosely when it comes to spiritual people.
Yes.
Like actually doing a deep dive and figuring out what energy vampires are. I think that the majority, and I'm going to go ahead and say the majority of people who are like, that person's an energy vampire, that person's an energy vampire, I don't think they're necessarily super like energy vampires.
Yeah, I think a lot of time
false accusations.
Yeah, I think a lot of time they're narcissists or gaslighters that are being mistaken for energy vampires. Or like you said, it's just, language does change and evolve over the course of time. But at the same time, like, I do feel like instead of being a term for a thing, energy vampire has become an umbrella and had several things put under it.
Well, like
when they're not necessarily energy vampires.
Right. Like, and I feel like here's an example. Somebody gets into a fight with another person. They have a disagreement. This other person simply is not agreeing with the other person. They're not going to agree with the other person. Okay, well, you're an energy vampire. You're just sucking my energy. No, you won't let something go. Like you're continually fighting with it, like, or they're both continually fighting. And so they're both draining each other of energy with like the arguments or the disagreement. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes, I do. Okay. I do exactly understand what you're trying to say. Because one thing that a lot of people say, energy vampires, you've been around an energy vampire when you always feel drained around this person, not just during a conflict, but because you're having a conflict and it's draining your energy because you're getting upset, they're getting upset. Nobody will see eye to eye.
Like some sort of chaotic energy in the first place.
Because like the fight itself starts feeding on both of you.
Exactly.
And you're both being drained by the communication that's happening, but it's mistaken as energy vamp is because, oh, I'm drained of energy. And usually it's not both people saying, oh, you're an energy vampire, but the person who is getting drained is like, or the person who believes in energy vampires that's getting drained is probably the better way to put this, is like, oh, you're an energy vampire. Just like some people are like, oh, that's gaslighting, when it's not. It's often gaslighting. I'm not one of those people who's like, gaslighting's not real. I saw the Ingrid Bergman movie. It's amazing. And gaslighting is totally real.
It's 100%. I really feel like the energy vampire has become just a broad term, like you said, to describe someone that I just don't like.
Yeah.
And I really think and that's a problem with the spiritual community as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, what do you say about it? Like you get into a group of pagans, right? I do not want to sit next to that person. Her energy is just off, which can ultimately be bullying if you think about it, and using spirituality as an excuse for bullying. But I cannot be near this person, their energy's off. I think they're an energy vampire. Go ahead.
I have two things to say to that from like an example perspective of what it's making me think of. So a couple weeks ago, I went somewhere that I don't want to say anything too specific and have anybody whatever, but I went somewhere and there were a lot of different pagan individuals together, or maybe not pagan's not the right word. A lot of different spiritual individuals together, right? And I'm an empath. I'm sorry. I don't want to be that guy who's like,
no, I know. I hate saying it too because I feel like people be rolling their eyes. Empath goes hand in hand with spiritual vampire being overused. But seriously,
but okay. But I just have to start it this way to make it understandable. Okay, so I'm like, it had been a week and trying to get there, whatever. And I might have smoked a little something on my way because that's how I am. That's how I roll. I got to roll with the homies and all that jazz. So anyway, exactly.
Okay, you knew what I was
doing. So I said, I used to have a plant named Roland, and I would sing to him and say, rolling with the homies. That was, I sing to my plants, y'all. But that was like, his name was, he was a dumb cane. So Clueless, Roland with the homies. It was a whole thing. It's a whole thing. If you get it, you're cool people. If you don't, I'm sorry. I can't explain it any better than that. Because it was dumb, clueless. You know what I mean? My plants are named after, like, my jade plant that was named after Jada Pinkett Smith. She died. But my Jade McConnell, named after Jerry McConnell, and whatever happened to baby Jade, they're doing great because they're not shitty people. Sorry. Like,
no, it's over.
I used to love Jada Pinkett. God, I used to love her. That's why I named a plant after her.
Tupac.
She was in my favorite, like, Demon Knight, the Tales from the Crypt movie, Demon Knight. Like, that is my favorite movie. I watched that VHS tape so much. Corey threw it away.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. And then he was like, oh, what happened to her? It got lost. So I bought another one, and he was like, what? Now I have it on DVD.
But you smoked something before you went.
Yeah. Yes, I did. And damn. Oh, rolling with the homies. I was like, how did we get to Jada? Anyway, great movie. Don't like her anymore. William Sadler. Love you, William Sadler. Anyway, so I went in there, and the amount of chaos that flew at me was deafening.
Mm-hmm.
I wound up doing that thing where I'm talking way too loud because all the background noise that I don't think everybody else could hear, but I could hear it. And so, like, and it was as I'm talking and interacting and trying to get my level down, because I realized, like, I'm feeling all of this, right? And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I wasn't nervous coming in here. Why would I be feeling this way now? I have no reason to feel any kind of way. I'm just here to enjoy the experience. And as I was, trying to bring myself down, because, like, I get sensory overload. So with all this background noise, that even if I'm the only one who can hear it, it's like, it's too much for me. And so I'm like, I'm trying to bring it down. And I come to realize in this moment that what I'm picking up on is one person's horrible, like, she's so nervous. It's just coming off of her. It's not even in waves. It's coming off of her in tsunamis. And then somebody else who is definitely putting up the, sometimes when I meet other spiritual people, they are immediately intimidated by me. And I don't do any kind of thing. It's just like, do you remember when we were at Empire Market and we wanted to meet that one lady that we kept seeing on Facebook, and then she refused to meet me? Like, she kept turning her back and avoiding having any kind of interaction with me that I was trying for, because I don't know, but I'll, like, figure, and this maybe sound crazy out loud, but it's like they can feel the energy that I have and am presenting with, and they are threatened or intimidated for whatever reason. And so I've got this nervous person, and then I've got this intimidated person, and it's all just coming at me in, like, immense waves. And I'm like, whoa, get the fuck out of here. Not leave, but, like, get out of these energy zones. And I did. I left the energy field so that I could enjoy, like, because once I identified that it's this energy being, like, thrown at me, because I was definitely not pulling it, I was able to identify what's going on, get myself level, and then help the one that was having a real hard time get chill again. And she did. Her voice started falling down too, and it was like, oh, thank God, because, like, it was getting to be a little bit too much for me. And then in that same standpoint, there was the person who was like, I can't be next to them because their energy is fucked up and my energy and their energy don't get along. And it's like, be an adult and say that you don't get along. Although now, after that situation, maybe I have, but actually be an adult. If you're a life coach, you should be able to identify the energy, remove the energy from your field, and carry on.
I think the problem is, unfortunately, it is with our spirituality, with our spiritual beliefs, it is so easy for someone to say something and we're pretty much expected to take it at face value.
Right. You can't it would have been inappropriate for me to say to them, well, as the position that you claim to be, because at the time this person claimed to be a high priestess,
right,
and a life coach. And if you are these things, then you should be able to not allow that person's energy to get into your field, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these are things that I just think like popped in my head when you were talking about the energy vamps from that standpoint, because it's like, these are other ways that people can misinterpret
mm-hmm.
energy vampirism.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not energy vampirism at all. Like, because if somebody's throwing energy at you, like whether they're scared or nervous, it's not sucking like energy vampires. But
right.
I've seen people misconstrue that, because like some people cannot control their energy.
Right. Well, and
they're new to utilizing it and protecting it and whatever.
I do believe in energy vampires. I absolutely do. I just really believe that a lot of people accused of being an energy vampire, maybe that's not the case every time.
Yeah.
For example, one of the things that I am going to bring it up, I'm going to bring it up delicately. I hope I'm okay. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
People who are neurodivergent. I say that as someone who may or may not be neurodivergent. I say may or may not because, look, I haven't gone to a doctor and I'm not going to self-diagnose myself. You know what I mean? But like I could be. I don't know. Sometimes people be getting loud. People be getting excited and they can't control that.
Yep.
They're excited, they're loud, or it's the opposite. They're quiet and they want to sit in the corner because they cannot physically process being in a crowded area.
Right. It's all that energy is coming at them in waves, and they don't know how to understand that it's not them.
Exactly.
And so they're sitting in this bubble of discomfort, thinking they're uncomfortable.
Right. Exactly.
And that doesn't make them an energy vampire just because energy is coming at them.
Well, and just like the really loud, excited people, I have been in a room with a very loud, excited person, and it is draining. But I don't think it's energy vampire draining. You know what I mean? I think
beyond that, like from specifically that, the people who are like, we're talking about neurodivergence. I read a couple of things that were like, the people who are like, oh, I was like that, I have blah, 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 blah. That's an energy vampire. No, that's how some people relate to the world. Exactly. That is a certain personality type. I am that personality type. That's how I relate to people. That doesn't mean I'm a vampire.
Right.
That's how I'm like, I get where you're coming from.
You and I do it to each other all the
time. Yeah. But it really upset me to read that somebody was like, this means this person's an energy vampire. No, this means that's how this person relates to other people. And just because you don't like that doesn't make them an energy vampire. A lot of people think that that's like a really rude personal trait, and it's like a lot of people are like that though.
I know. I never think it's a rude personal trait. I never do.
I don't either. But I keep seeing that it's rude, and I'm like, that's me.
There are people who, and I'm going to say this delicately and finish my whole sentence. There are people who are constantly messaging, or hey, you want to hang out? Hey, what are you doing? Hey, you want to hang out? Hey, you want to hang out? People are always like, that's an energy vampire. Some cases it is, yes. Other cases, it could be a neurodivergent thing. People are very excited, get very excited. Or it could be I'm going to use the term neurodivergent broadly. I'm referring to any sort of mental, I don't want to use the term abnormality, but you understand.
It is not what has been typically called normal.
Right, not just
big
autism.
Quotations on normal, guys, if that aren't watching.
Exactly.
I was quoting normal, like, I'm not saying normal.
Not just necessarily autism, but the broad spectrum of neurodivergence. some people don't understand when they're coming on too strong.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
because they physically and mentally cannot understand that
Yeah.
they are coming on too strong. And I can see where people would be like, okay, this person won't leave me alone. They're
Mhm.
constantly texting me. They're constantly asking me to hang out. They're
Yeah.
wanting to suck my energy. And that's almost a paranoid thought.
I agree, because again, like a lot of things where people are like, this is an energy vampire, those are just personal traits. Like
They are personal, like, damn.
like you know that I rarely send the long message. I send like 8 short messages.
I do too.
Because I'm like, I don't want to send this long thing that you're like, oh my God, I have to read a whole paragraph. But then instead I blow up your phone.
Right. If it's
Sorry.
littler messages, it's
Right.
easier, even if it's the same length as like
Right,
a paragraph.
exactly. It seems like
Right.
less.
So if I'm blowing
at
up a phone,
first.
I'm not doing it on purpose.
Exactly. Like quite often I'll come up, like I don't say it to you anymore just because it's been happening for so long. But like with my newer friends, I'll be like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like be weird. That's how I am.
Well, and you have to, because you get that uncertainty and that like, I don't want these people to perceive me as this type of person or an energy vampire, etc.
Yeah.
But as for so I guess we spent a lot of this episode talking about
what's not an energy
right
vampire per
or
se.
what could not
Or
be
could-
an,
right,
you know,
yeah.
or misinterpreted as an energy vampire, but what is an energy vampire?
So an energy vampire is somebody that you definitely, all of your interactions with them leave you feeling drained. And this, yes, your aunt who drives you insane could be an energy vampire, or she could just
Be a bitch.
your aunt that drives you insane. Yeah, exactly. Like y'all just clash, you know. But an energy vampire, like even pleasant interactions leave you feeling drained. Every single thing that happens between this person leaves you feeling drained. You're tired, and all of a sudden you get a message from them. Hey, I was wondering if you wanted to get together today.
Right.
Because they're siphoning on your energy as soon as they make that link with you.
Well, and I want to use some examples as well. I
Yes.
think energy vampires and bullies can go hand in hand. And let me explain that. For example, you say an ant. I'll use an ant as an example, like for argument's sake. Okay. I'm talking about something else that's not an ant. But you're around this person, and suddenly there's something wrong with your hair. There's something wrong with your outfit. There's something wrong with the way that you talk or the way that you're living your life. And there's something wrong with everything you do. And the more they keep talking and sending these insults, whether they think they're insults or not, because I've noticed a lot of people will be like, I'm just telling the truth. You don't want to hear it. It just hurts your feelings and I'm telling you the truth. That's a really big, like, red flag for me. But the more
some of us are like that, though. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I'm sorry.
The more that this person keeps
like not the nitpicking part, but the like, I am definitely one of those friends who's like, I'm gonna be your friend that tells you what I truly think, not what I think you want to hear, because I think I'd be a shitty friend to you to just tell you what you want.
I totally agree.
Like, yeah, so I'm just
specifically referencing like there's something wrong
the
with
ones
your
who
hair.
constantly find fault with
and
everything. Or
like family
well, couldn't you have
members.
gotten a bigger this? Couldn't you have done this?
Yes, not like
shouldn't you have done that?
Right, exactly. Or like, wow, you need a new job. That's just ridiculous. Why are you doing blah blah blah? Anyway, everything,
it's always a criticism,
and it's like with every criticism, the energy goes down, and down and down. Of course, you point it out to those specific people. I'm not being a shitty person. I'm just telling you what you don't want to hear. And then that just pulls you lower. And I do feel like that's a form of energy vampirism, because the only reason somebody could continuously fucking say the negative shit repeatedly over and over. I'm talking like we're getting together for Thanksgiving. Auntie May's just constantly one negative thing after another, after another, after another, after another, making you feel like shit. That's an energy vampire. Their goal is to make you feel like shit. Their goal is to drain your energy.
To suck out all the good.
Yes.
And leave the darkness behind.
Right. And I do think that, what do you think on that?
Well, I agree with what you said. And now, since I said it the way I did, I want to ask you a question about it. Do you think they are taking your positive energy and replacing it with their negative energy so they feel good after the interaction.
Absolutely.
And you feel drained.
Yes, and
shitty.
that's why I think energy vampirism and bullies just go hand in hand. They say, oh, bullies just trying picking on you to make themselves feel better, because they're literally draining your energy to make themselves feel better.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, but there's also like, there are some people don't know they're an energy vampire. I would say a lot of people who are siphoning your energy don't even realize it. They're the people that are like, I just love being around you. I was thinking about you and I just miss you so much. I want to call you. I want to text you.
Your energy that they like
they think they love you so much.
Right.
And it's literally because every time they get with you, they're siphoning your light to fill themselves up. And so they wind up feeling better. And you wind up like, oh man, I'm so tired. I'm so drained. And like, a lot of the times they don't even know they're doing it.
Like, and I feel like that's like the example that I used and the example you're using. They're both energy vampires, but they're presenting in two completely different ways. One's ignorant, one's maybe they don't know that they're an energy vampire, but they know they're bringing you down to bring themselves up. Right. And I think that is an energy vampire, whether they're knowingly like, I want to suck your energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree completely. Because like, I'm thinking about that that one time where
that is beautiful.
We had.
Have you always had that? Did you do that?
No, I didn't do that. That is a Van Gogh print.
Oh, that's right.
It is so beautiful. I wish I'd done that, and I love that you were like, "Did you do that?" My mom gave it to me for Christmas. It's a print. Yeah, but like, so on the energy vampire end, like, not only do sometimes they not know they're doing it, but sometimes energy vampires do it because they're uncomfortable. Like when you're at a pagan festival and you're a table away from somebody who typically you have a great time with, but all of a sudden they aren't interacting with you at all and you feel sick. And then you have to get a Reiki treatment. I'm talking about you, right?
Yeah, I know.
I was like,
well, and I think that was a situation.
I truly think like they were jealous. Like they were, I want to have the good things happen to me today. And they were literally trying to siphon on your luck.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Or it was like a competitive type. So I'm going to siphon that energy to have it all to myself.
Right. Because we have been friends, prior.
For so long. Yeah. And that was very upsetting, actually.
It was.
And I think even to this day, that is the strongest and most consistent psychic attack that I've ever had to this day. And I mean, I had other witches coming up to me being like, "Are you okay? I have watched you just wilt like a fucking flower."
Yeah.
It was rough.
No, and I mean, like, and that person, I don't think they have any idea they're an energy vampire, but they truly are.
How do you feel about, or do you think this is a type of vampirism? False flattery. Or not even just false flattery. Flattery in the sense that I'm going to constantly compliment you so that you want to be around me, so that you can be around me all the time and I can kind of just, oh yeah, wow, that is so awesome. You are so cool.
I think that could possibly be, but I don't think that is every time in those situations.
Right, I definitely don't think it's every time. I think it's like the two that we mentioned previously, and then this is a whole other thing, because I do think there are some people that are like, "Oh my gosh, that is gorgeous. I love that. You are so cool." And then they're boosting you up. And as they're boosting you up, they're taking that boost.
Exactly. Because like you're feeling it, but so are they.
Yes. It's almost like them complimenting you is also them complimenting themselves.
It's like a little drug buddy. Like, let's share a 10 bag. You get a bump, I get a bump. You get a bump, I get a bump.
It's like, and I feel like,
but you're the one that paid for the 10 bags.
And that type of energy vampire.
Sorry, Amber used to be a bad kid.
But it's like you pay for it. Exactly. So I feel like that type of energy vampire, that type of tactic is never talked about, because people are like,
Right, because you're getting something out of it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
do you think that's a thing? I don't think it's a common thing. I don't think.
I definitely think it's a thing, and I think it's probably more of a thing with somebody who actually realizes that they get off on it.
Right.
Whether they know they're magically an energy vampire, although I do think that someone who is an actual energy vampire that without permission siphons someone else's energy or without consent, that's a common way to do that for someone who is aware and doing it on purpose.
Well, and I agree. I think that would be a purpose tactic that you use drug buddy as an example. Like, let's use weed. Like, oh, you just bought, or you're gonna buy weed or whatever you buy weed. You're awesome. I love it. Yeah, loadable. Right, loadable. And then you load a bowl, and then you're smoking, and you're like, I love smoking with you, man. You're the best. Like, fuck yeah. Oh, we're gonna do another one. You know? What I mean?
But all the time it's your weed.
It's your weed.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think that's a more intentional form of energy vampirism.
I do. I agree with that. And I also think that
it's sneaky.
It's
sneaky. Like a druggie. It's sneaky.
But then there's also consensual energy vampirism where, like, we talked about the people that are like, oh, I love your energy. I just love being around you because I love your energy. I feel so good when I'm around you. And that could be an energy vampire.
That kind of goes hand in hand, I think. Well, maybe not hand in hand, but I could see the other energy vampire also being like, damn, I love your energy. Right?
But it's like, here's where the consent part comes in. Somebody who's honest with you, I love your energy. Your energy is so powerful. Your energy is so magnetic. Come over and let's do some spell work together because I would love your energy with this. Well, they're gonna, that's energy vampirism. Even if they're not an energy vampire, they want to siphon off your energy. They're being honest about it. And you have the choice to give your energy, just like the sexy vampire romance where she's like, yes, bite me. Like, you know what? I'm never going to give my wrist. It's going to be right here.
I am going to ask you a question that goes hand in hand. This is probably a silly question. If an energy vampire approached you and said, I love your energy, would you give me the opportunity to feed off of you? Would you ever in any way say yes? Now, part of me wants to say, maybe I would because I want to experience it. Because I want to, you experience it, you learn what it feels like. Also, it's one of those things where it's like, you only live once, you know what I mean? But it's also such a powerful exchange.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds really intimate the way you just said it. And I don't even mean sexual.
I didn't mean sexual.
Yeah,
I just meant like
sexual.
somebody touching you like.
I just mean the intimacy of like, you know. Like, it's not like a friend who just said, hey, I want your energy involved in my spell work.
No, this is like,
I want to feed on your energy. And it is slightly different. And I don't, somehow it seems more intimate than your friend who's like, I love your energy. Like, let's do something together because I want to be around your energy. So they're basically saying out loud, like, they want to siphon on your energy.
I know, I'm over
but
here
like somehow it seems more intimate on that, like, I don't know you very well, and you're asking me this question. And that somehow makes it more intimate, even though, like, I'm more likely to say yes to the friend because I know you. I also like your
assuming
energy.
This is like a friend of yours, okay? Like, so that you do know this person.
And that still feels intimate because you're feeding on me. It's one thing if I'm giving you to like this energy to a party or a spell or something, but giving my energy directly to you feels weird.
Well, and it's like, do you also get really weak because it's a consent?
Like, you know what I mean? You would have to. I mean, like, he's even in like them sexy vampire movies. We're just gonna use vampires as the example because vampires sexy. Like, even when he's like feeding on your wrist or right here when he's kissing your chest, like, you get weak. You're like, huh. Because he's literally draining your life essence. And it's the same thing.
So
somehow it seems more intimate and I don't feel as comfortable saying yes on that level. I don't know why.
I think it really depends because I do want to I
If
don't
I
want.
was attracted to them, I would say yes.
Oh
Let
my
me
God,
be
I'm so
very
weak, carrying
clear
my
and
intuition.
honest.
Like, but like, I want to say.
There's Amber's bias.
But
Okay.
my problem would be, if we do it once, are you going to expect to continue to do it? If we do it once, can you do it from afar when I don't give you consent?
You
How much power?
absolutely can.
Exactly.
And
that's the problem.
And that is where, like, calling your energy back on a regular basis helps protect you from energy vampires. Because even if you didn't realize in the moment that you were dealing with somebody who's siphoning off your energy, when you call your energy back to you, and at the same time, you're calling your energy back, you are cutting any ties that have been attached to you, and you are sending back any energy that was not originally yours, you will find out how much somebody's feeding off of you. Truly. And because the first time I did it, I had 3 people immediately message me. You'll find out who's been siphoning off of you when they're not around you. I shit you not.
My biggest fear is like, oh my God, what if I coincidentally message? Like, you know what I mean?
I don't believe in coincidence.
No, you're right. Coincidences don't make sense.
No, because the person messages you or calls you or comes by to see you because they feel that link is broken. And even if they don't know that they had initiated it, they need it back. Because you're like a drug. And they're just feeding off of you.
And they're fiends.
And they're fiends. And when they aren't getting it, they can tell, they can feel the difference. And even if they're not aware that they're doing it, because that's the craziest thing about this whole process that I'm talking about. They can still feel. And even though they didn't know they're siphoning off your energy, their little brain is going to tell them to reach out to you. And that's how you're going to know right away who it is that is siphoning your energy when they're not around. And maybe there won't be anything, and maybe nobody was siphoning from you when you weren't around. But it's better safe than sorry. But it is better safe than sorry. And when you're calling your energy back to you, you're calling your energy back to you. Really, the very first time I did it, it felt so good. I cried. No, like it was like tears of relief. It was the weirdest, coolest feeling. Like I invited all my energy back. Like I have this whole little like rhymey sing-songy thing. But basically, like I'm like, hey girl, come home. I got the room for you that was originally yours because like you were made in here and there's space for you.
Well, and I love it because also not just spiritually, it's also really good psychologically to do because let's say you're stressed out about a situation. Yeah. You're still calling that energy back to you. You're no longer giving that situation. That's nothing to do with
not feeding something else.
Yes.
You have your own energy to help power your body because like think of it like a wheel, right? That wheel only flows correctly when that wheel is smooth. When the roundness stops being round somewhere, now that wheel's like and you can feel the difference. Like you can feel the difference, and it's disruptive.
Yes, and
it's jarring, and on a molecular level, it's like your whole body is going over potholes.
Literally, I like the way you put that. So before we end this episode, why don't we talk a little bit about protecting from an energy vampire? I know you can carry a grounding stone, which helps you if you're feeling off, put your hand in your pocket, touch your stone or the grounding stone, and that helps you ground and center your own energy.
You can use like black tourmaline, black onyx, any of the black stones.
Amethyst is great for psychic protection as well. Yes. Also,
if you are like if you're into herbs and stuff like that, you can put certain protective herbs like dill or cayenne pepper or
red pepper flakes.
Black salt was what I was going to start with, and then I didn't, and then I forgot it. But yeah, black salt or red pepper flakes, cayenne pepper, dill, basil is good for protection, and frankincense is good for
St. John's wort and mugwort as well.
Yeah.
So my go-to is always a stone
Holy
because
water.
when I'm around, if I'm around what I think is an energy vampire, it's more often than not in public unless in your own home. So that's why I always shoot for the stones, because you can just nobody
Yeah,
can
well,
see it. But
lots
you
of people
necklaces.
like to carry satchels of herbs.
Yes,
that's really
yes,
big, which is why I
exactly.
mentioned those.
Charmed necklaces.
Yes, I was going to say
or
pentacles.
jewelry. Again, you got the stone. Pentacles are
Yeah.
great.
Mhm.
You can even Amber has. Is your Amber's the color going or not?
Mhm.
Okay, so Amber actually has a protection spritz that you can do. Let's say you're like you have it in your purse or in your car.
Right.
You're going in there, protection spritz or sage.
Yep, it's got
spritz.
frankincense and lavender in it.
You got the
Sorry,
sage.
we just already mentioned them, so it's funny.
But you're
Yeah,
coming
see,
back from the
yeah.
situation. Sage spritz. Just
You're
take
grounded, buddy.
Yes, exactly. Take a minute to just center
Yeah.
and find a way to ground.
Yeah, and I also would say, from a protective standpoint, somebody who's constantly trying to touch you against your will, create a connection.
I have to share a story. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no,
This
you're
bitch
good.
was talking to me 2 times. This has happened to me 2 times. Okay, and these are the most. I'm going to sit up a little bit because I hope you don't mind I use you as an example. Okay, I'm having a conversation with this woman about another woman who she claims was an energy vampire. The other woman claims she was an energy vampire. As we're talking, she goes, and you know what? And I'm just looking at her, and she's like, I just don't understand. And I'm like, you fucking touched me intentionally. You did that. And yes, you wanted to. I was. I did not do anything.
Yeah, no, it was just my leg.
That was a different situation.
Okay.
The other situation was talking again about another person who claimed the other person was a vampire, energy vampire, blah, blah, blah. She grabs my hand and she goes,
that's why I moved my hand, because I thought that's what we were doing.
She goes, I am so sorry. And she was doing it in the sense that she was trying to appear concerned, sensitive. Oh, I'm so sorry you did. Do you think I'm stupid? Do you think in both of those situations, I don't believe in coincidences. We're talking about an energy vampire or someone you claim is an energy vampire. 2 different people, and you both touch me.
Right.
And not just touch me, but touch me and hold my hand like you were concerned.
Right. Like touch me while we're talking.
Right. Am I paranoid? I don't think so.
Man, I wish we talked about that in last episode, magical ethics. Right. Because that's unethical as shit.
That is unethical as shit because
for
all of they know, exactly. And for all they know, I didn't know. Obviously.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I truly did not do any
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no. I wasn't worried
Don't
about
be paranoid, Amber. I didn't do anything.
Like literally, I was like, the only reason I moved my hand in the first place because I thought that you were about to do the second thing.
Yeah, no.
Because I forgot about that. The leg.
And anyway,
so,
it was just
that's
an insane experience. So there are people that intentionally touch you. Like you said, don't hug people, don't touch people. That was one of the first things I was taught by my mentor. She told me straight up, I don't fucking hug. Look, Amber hugs. I get it.
I do. And no, I'm glad you brought that up in this episode because I do hug and I'm very conscientious when I'm doing it in magical spaces because I am.
You don't want to appear as an energy vampire, but you don't want an energy vampire to get a hold of you either.
Right. Like, so I am very conscientious when I make physical contact. Oh, you're fine. Especially in magical spaces, like at PPD, for example. I get a lot of people that want to hug me. They want to experience my energy. They love being around me, and I share what I'm willing. And I have the ability. Like I don't. Now, not to say that I can't be drained from somebody that I'm not aware of, but in those moments where somebody wants to hug me or shake my hand, I am actively, conscientiously having that energetic barrier of my energy will interact with you, but you are not, like, there is no transfer of energy. And I am actively conscientiously,
yeah, like you said.
And it's something that I've been working at for a very long time in many, many, many ways. So it's not something that I just, maybe I did just do from the get-go. I don't know, but it's something that I've been working on.
You also learn from experience when you get more involved in the pagan communities and with other spiritual people. And
because like you learn, like Maddie said, you learn from other people. Like the very first pagan pride day that I personally was the local coordinator over, not just helping our local coordinator, but my first one that I did on my own for ritual, I had a part where everybody was holding hands. And like afterward, because it was only the second time I'd ever done public ritual, like, you know, so like, it's not like I was new to stuff. Sorry. I had like a minimum of 3 people come up to me throughout the day and be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You don't want to encourage people to touch each other during ritual.
Well, and also just pagan pride is such a big thing.
Right.
You know, there's so many people there. No one knows
Right.
anybody's intention.
Exactly. Like a smaller, like in a coven setting, for instance, not the same, but this is a large public space. So somebody might not know they're an energy vampire. Somebody else might not know how the fuck to discharge that energy that they're collecting by accident.
Right.
People can actually get physically ill. You can think I'm crazy all you want, but people have passed out from this kind of stuff.
No, really.
Like, really. Yeah. So like, you know, there's stuff that I've learned on that end. And then there's, you know, stuff that you kind of just figure out when you learn, like think about other stuff, you know what I mean? But you don't have to avoid people is what my point. My point is that you don't have to avoid people. You don't have to be standoffish to be conscientious of protecting your own energy.
Right.
That's all I want to say there, because I know the idea of energy vampirism freaks a lot of people out. Like I've had people on public forums that were like, oh, do I come, like, should I come to PPD protected, or should we come in a group? And it's like, whoa,
I'm sorry.
this isn't Hogwarts. Like nobody's like Death Eaters. Like maybe they are, but you know, like the fact that was their ideal of what it would be like to be around a bunch of other magical peoples makes me conscientiously aware of the fact that people believe that perhaps this is something that they always have to encounter. So they always have to be on guard. You should always be conscientious, but you don't have to be shitty to other people. And that's all I'm going to, I think
that's a great way to conclude this episode. I think this episode and last episode were really fun. I really enjoyed the energy vampire episode because like it was very educational, I think.
Very interesting conversation.
I want to give a huge shout out to Pam,
Victoria,
Melissa,
Death by DVD.
Thanks for being our Patreon, or our patrons. If you want to support us for as little as $6 a month, that's less than a cup of coffee. You can find us at patreon.com/witchestalkingtarot. We're also on Threads, Facebook, and Instagram at Witches Talking Tarot.
And we're on the X as Classiest Witches because we are the classiest witches you know. So thanks for coming to sit with us as well. Bye. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a really great episode. I'm Maddie.
I'm Amber.
And we're Witches Talking Tarot.
We are the weirdos in this story.
I get song like a Santa snubble. Flip the switch and let the cauldron bubble. Sam.
Wow.